Hello, my name is Reny, this is Reny Reads, and here on my channel we talk about queer books, fanfiction, human rights, and just about everything in between. I know I said that today was going to be a full-length book review, but it's been a crazy week. I wrote the notes out for it, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and I spilled a cup of water all over them, so I have to rewrite them, unfortunately. So hopefully that'll be done next week. We'll see. Everybody seems to really like the fanfiction one, so I'm gonna go with that for right now, and we'll just kind of see where we're at. So like I said, today is chapter 2 of the self-insert Black Butler fanfiction. I did a lot of reading ahead with Tegan. Tegan and I spent like probably 2 whole days like reading it. There is a bunch of like really heavy stuff coming up that I might read the whole thing and see if I want to keep going. I was dealing with a lot of stuff when I was 13 and when I was writing this, and I just kind of used this as like an outlet, and I didn't do it well, obviously, because I was 13, but I don't want to like trigger myself or trigger anybody, so I'm going to read ahead a little bit, see where we can go. This might be the last chapter, but if it's not, I'll still make it light and funny. You can count on cringe though, because this chapter is no better than the last one. In fact, it's a little bit worse. So, warning for irresponsible adults and slight, like, an adult hits on a minor, kind of. You'll see. It's weird. I don't characterize any of these characters correctly, unfortunately. So, okay, anyway, let's get this over with. Let's see if I cringe as hard as last time. I feel like I've been desensitized to it because Tegan and I started reading it together, so we'll see. Okay. Chapter 2. They're going to a party. For those of you who have not seen it, have not seen the first episode, go watch the first episode. And for those of you who haven't watched it since last week, we're going to a party at Alois's house. Wonder what could happen. Chapter 2. Are you sure about this? Yes, Daddy, I will be fine. I have my cell phone and Ruby will have hers. I want you back by midnight. I told you I'm spending the night at Ruby's when it's over. Her dad sighed. Okay, be safe. I will. A horn honked outside. Bye, Daddy, love you. Ruby's dad honked the horn again. Cody was in the back seat. I still don't know who Cody is. Tegan made a joke, so later on there's like another character that comes in and Corinne asks Alois like, oh, who's that? And Alois like answers and like gives like a description, and Tegan was like, oh, if we had just asked Alois who Cody is, maybe we'd know who Cody is, which is not wrong. I don't think we'll ever learn. I still have no idea who this is. I have a few ideas of who it could be, but I haven't seen any solid proof, and there were a lot of things happening in my life when I was 13, so who knows. Anyway, Cody was in the back seat. Hey, punk, nice clothes. Corinne nodded and crossed her eyes at him. She had put on her favorite t-shirt ever, My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade. I still have that t-shirt. I've worn it in other videos. I just like cut the bottom off of it because it was so bleach stained from dyeing my hair. She had put on her black skinnies, not skinny jeans, skinnies, and wore her curly hair down. I recently learned that I can put my hair into a ponytail, so, and I got claw clips, so that's 90% of probably what I'm going to be wearing now, going forward. The necklace Ruby had given her, the Black Order emblem, was hanging on her neck. Her eyes were lined with kohl, which is cultural appropriation and something that Holly Black uses a lot to describe eye makeup. It's specifically, I believe, an East Indian thing. I'm gonna fact check myself. I could be wrong. I know it's not a white person thing at all, but yeah, I could have just said eyeliner. I say eyeliner later, but and she had a hint of eyeshadow and mascara on. Red lipstick, of course. Red was so enchanting. I don't even like the color red. I didn't even like the color red. Ruby had on a red shirt that said only a little unstable on it in black letters. She also wore black skinny jeans. Her brown eyes were made up with eyeliner. See, we could have just used eyeliner. I don't know why we thought we were cool enough to use kohl, but anyway. Ruby had pulled her auburn hair into a loose ponytail. She wore the necklace that Corinne had given her, a chainsaw. "I'll be back to pick you girls up around 2. "In the morning?" Cody exclaimed. "Yes, they're old enough." "They're 13. I agree with Cody. I don't know who he is, but, like, I agree with him. 13-year-olds should not be anywhere without an adult till 2 in the morning. And Cody rolled his eyes. He wasn't going to win. They pulled up to a fancy gate. "I've got the code." Corinne jumped out of the car and punched in the numbers, then hopped back in. "I can't wait until you meet Alois." Ruby huffed. "Right, Black, and Grell is my boyfriend." Oh, I want to address this. I'm going to be changing the pronouns of Grell Sutcliffe. She is a trans woman in Black Butler, and the way, specifically the anime, I haven't read the manga in a really long time, so I'm not sure. I only have the first 2 volumes on my shelf. I haven't read the manga in a long time. I don't know how they characterize her in the manga and if it's accurate to in the anime, but in the anime, they're really transphobic about it because she is a trans woman and they don't use the correct pronouns and they make fun of her for performing femininity. And I haven't seen me do that, but I do use the wrong pronouns because I grew up Christian and, things like that were just normalized for me. Unfortunately, I was not a very good person until I grew up a little bit. But I'm going to be changing pronouns for Grell in this because she is in this and I do want to do her justice and not discount her character, basically. "Just you wait, Knight." Ruby's dad stopped and they climbed out of the car. He rolled away, gravel crunching under the tires. The mansion was as huge and as grand as it was in the anime. The doorbell was a spider. Corinne pushed it. I'm still not buying the whole Alois transy thing. The door opened. Alois himself stood in the doorway. "Hey, Corinne, who's this? I'm Alois." Ruby stuttered. She regained control and grabbed the blonde by his collar. "Where are the Reapers, Trancy?" His eyes widened. Put the poor boy down, Knight." "Sorry, Alois." Ruby put him down. "This is Ruby, Alois." "Alois, Ruby, Ruby, Alois." That's too many times somebody says their name. Alois looked at Ruby again. Alois looked at Ruby for a long time. Claude had suddenly appeared behind him. The Earl turned to him. "I don't know if I like her." Claude opened the other door, ushering them in. Ruby caught sight of the Undertaker. His hair was tied back. She took off after him. Okay, for those of you who have not watched Black Butler, and I know some of you haven't, and one of those is my sister. I know you're watching. So I'll have Tegan find a side-by-side comparison, I guess. But so the Undertaker is, I believe, the oldest Reaper is from the history of Reapers. And he always has his hair in his eyes, but when he pushes it back, he's ultra mega hot. He's just so sexy. And it's a thing in the fandom. So yeah, his hair is pushed back. So he's ultra mega sexy. Alois grabbed the other girl by the hand. Another thing I've noticed, I use the girl or the other girl a lot in terms of just people's names. I don't know why I do that, but it's really confusing later on because I was reading and it was a scene between 4 girl characters and it was the girl, the other girl, and I was that's not a descriptor. That's not a descriptor, but go off, I guess. Alois grabbed the other girl by the hand. "Come on, there's so many others I want you to meet." He ran off, dragging Corinne behind him. "Oi, Ciel!" The dark-haired boy turned. "What do you want, Trancy?" He was even more stunning in person. No, I remember this part. Okay. This was my ideal type of boy, I guess. He's even more stunning in person, so I'm assuming I was I can have him and I can make him so much better. Let's see how I made him so much better. He was wearing a tight Evanescence shirt, a shark tooth necklace, and jeans. So every 14-year-old skater boy at a skate park? Okay. Sebastian stood next to him. He was dressed in all black, down to the skinny jeans. I'm not mad that I put Sebastian in skinny jeans. I'm sure he looks great. He'd look great in anything, but, you know. Look, this is the girl I was talking about. He, CL, looked her up and down. Hi. She nodded, eyes wide and at a loss for words. She loved this place. Sebastian stepped forward, taking her hand. He kissed it, bowing slightly. This is the part where Tegan kept asking me every 5 seconds. Hey, Reny, who's the love interest? I think it's a harem. I think it's a harem. Anyway. A pleasure to meet you, miss. She flushed. Corinne. My name is Corinne. He smiled. Lovely name, too. Everyone's just flirting with her. The flush deepened. I better go over there. She stepped away, mentally kicking herself. Over there? Really? That was the best she could do? Yeah, you're awkward. You're awkward. I'm awkward. Oh my gosh, Grell, I love you. Come here so I can kiss you. Ruby was having a mental breakdown / overload. She hung onto her arm, smiling like a madwoman. Who's this? She, Grell, asked Undertaker, pointing to her arm. Undertaker grinned and shrugged. Corinne came over. Ruby, get off her. Ruby, get off. No. Yes. We are bonding. Corinne looked apologetically at the Reaper. Sorry. Ruby loves you. Grell flashed her pointed teeth. No worries, darling. It's cute. Ruby looked like she was going to faint. She thinks I'm cute. My life is complete. I want you to keep in mind, these are 13-year-old girls that are doing this. It gets weirder, but I mean, I get it. Like, they're hot and they're anime characters and like everybody wants to, I don't know. It gives me the ick now that I'm older, obviously, but I didn't think much of it when I was younger, so yikes. Ruby, was it? Yes. Pretty. Red is so perplexingly gorgeous, don't you agree? And so began the 3-hour conversation about the color red. All right. The girl smiled. Corinne is the, see what I mean? The girl smiled and shook her head. She went over to the a couch, sitting on the arm. Tegan was like, why can't you sit like a normal person? Why can't you sit like a normal person? I don't know. I'm gay. Corinne, was it? She looked up. CL was standing next to her. Yeah. CL nodded and sat next to her. Okay, he sat next to her, actually on the couch. So I'm self-aware. I know that I'm being weird. I'm self-aware. He was wearing his eye patch, as always. Why would he not wear his eye patch? Okay. Okay. Want to play a game? He asked. Sure. 20 questions. You go first. This is such a 13-year-old thing to do. To ask somebody, do you want to play a game? And then it's just 20 questions because you don't actually know how to flirt with someone and you want to like know more things about them. Yeah, that's like such a 13-year-old thing to do. Corinne nodded, racking her brain. Okay, what's your favorite band? He indicated his shirt. She nodded. How does he know about Evanescence? If I'm assuming that they just, I don't think this is ever addressed, but if I am to assume that they just came from the 1800s in England, he's not going to know who Evanescence is. Did he listen to it on the radio? Evanescence was not played very often on the radio, except for that one song. Anyway, what do you do for fun? She smiled. Mostly annoy my best friends or read. Oh, and I love anime. He smiled cheekily. Favorite anime? No fair. It's my turn. New game. CL asks questions and Corinne answers. Okay. She smirked. D. Greyman. He frowned. She laughed. This is... So they're self-aware that they're in an anime. They're self-aware that they don't exist. I feel like that would cause some existentialism. Especially in CL, but what do I know? Okay. Kidding. Black Butler. I did that because you changed the game. He rolled his eye, because the other one's eye patched, and shoved her. Tegan's texting me. With a yelp, she fell off the couch arm. Feet were at her head. They tapped her in the nose. Not they, the tapped her in the nose. She scrunched it. Gross. What are you doing on the floor, girl who amuses me? She rolled over onto her back. It's Corinne, boy who annoys me. Help me up. Alois pouted. Suddenly the ground was far beneath her. Viscount Druitt was holding her. Okay, if you've never watched the show, or read the manga, this guy's a fucking creep. He's gross. There's an arc where CL has to dress up like a girl to like infiltrate something. I think it's to get closer to him specifically, and he's like into little girls. So I don't know what I thought, but this was just cool, I guess, to me. So the next part is highly uncomfortable. Oh boy. A pretty doll like you should not be on the floor. It's unbecoming of a little birdie. She spat in his face. That was for hitting on my CL, pervert. Referencing when CL was dressed as a girl. The Count assumed a wounded... The Count? He's a Viscount. He's not a Count. Okay. The Count assumed a wounded expression. How rude. I was only trying to help. A beautiful blue jay like yourself should be grateful. I mean me, your knight in shining armor, sweeping you off your feet. I will. She punched him in the face. The only good thing she's done so far. He dropped her, clutching his face tenderly. From the floor again, she looked up at him. Because okay, I was like, why are you on the floor? He dropped her. The only knight in shining armor I have doesn't exist. Go suck a pole. Okay. The disgusting man flounced away. She helped herself up. Corinne turned to Alois. You are going to die, little boy. CL laughed, a rare thing. You better run, Trancy. She looks serious. I don't know why I think I'm so intimidating. I don't know why. I thought I was pretty badass when I was 13. But God, if you had come to me and been like, I'm gonna punch you, I would have started crying, to be honest. Alois nodded and began to run, so there's no hesitation, he's running. The girl followed, hair streaming behind her. Ruby looked up from her conversation, tripped Alois, and returned to it. He stumbled, eventually falling. The visual of this, when I first read this to Tegan, I think it was like 2 a.m. or something like that, I thought this was the funniest thing. Just that, like, so Ruby trips him. Does he just, like, stumble around, like, a lot? Like, is he just, like, attempting to tap dance and then he falls? Or, like, I don't know. That visual is really funny. The girl sat on him. Oh, yeah, this was also a thing that, like, I would threaten people. I'd be like, I'm gonna sit on you. Mind you, when I was 13, I weighed, like, 100 pounds soaking wet, so that really wasn't as big of a threat as I thought it was. Ow, hey, get off. Claude, help me. I'm being killed. The butler looked up, adjusted his glasses, and ignored his master's pleas. Harsh. Alois looked at his attacker. You're not being attacked. You're so dramatic. You're not being attacked. Slightly scared. But the terror, he's slightly scared, but he's terrorized? Okay. But the terror vanished when he saw her smiling. See, I was a non-threat. You should be more careful about who you don't help. The girl stared down at him. He struggled uselessly. Help me, someone. Relax, kid. I'm not gonna kill you. ... Yet. Yeah, another thing that Corinne does is, like, her quote-unquote love interest, because Alois is supposed to be the love interest, even though it reads like a harem. Especially in the next chapter, it reads like a harem. I'm not going to read that one today. But yeah, she calls Alois specifically, like, kid or kiddo. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. Relax, kid. I'm not going to kill you. ... Yet. Yet? Yet. Alois saw an opening. He took a bit of ribbon out of his pocket. Don't ask. Okay, I'm asking. I am asking. And slipped into her back pocket. She yelped and rolled away. He got up and began to run. So I guess just, like, sticking something into her back pocket is, like, her, like, force reset button almost. Ugh. He got up and began to run. She pulled the ribbon out of her pocket. Claude was nearby. She stood and walked over to him, tying it around his wrist. He looked down at it, then down at her. She mimicked his scowl. He looked a tad surprised, then scowled some more. She's just so random. How do you do this for so long? She grumbled. My face hurts. He shrugged. You should smile more. God, oh God, oh God. Corinne began to play with his face. Baby, that's a demon. He'll eat you. You are a snack. He just watched her. Now see, this is smiling. Smiling means happy. Happy equals good. Get the picture? I have a lot of problems with that, but okay. Hey, don't play with his face. Only I can do that. Alois, don't like the implications of that. I do know that I think in the anime with Alois, he like does like do like this on Claude to like make him smile. It's still weird. She looked out of the corner of her eyes. Try and stop me, brat. She also calls him a brat a lot, which not untrue, but Alois frowned. She scowled. I'm Claude. Alois can't have any candy because it ruins his dinner. The candy thing is like an ongoing thing in the whole thing so far. I've gotten up to like chapter 10 of like chapter 21. Chapter 21 is not published, by the way. So it is technically 20 chapters, and then I just stopped writing the 21st chapter and never went back. Alois looked confused. Claude just grunted, a trace of a smile on his face. See, that's smiling. We like smiling. Smiling equals happy, Claude. Not necessarily. Wait a second. No, that would equal Claude is going to kill someone. Okay, stop it. I like my life. He's a demon. You don't want them to smile. The blonde boy was laughing his head off. Corinne grew bold. Oh, I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps. I don't want to read that. Bassie, like Sebastian, except not. Bassie, come here. I want to hug you. It's funny because Tegan and I have talked about if we ever have like a child, and if it's a boy, we want to name them Sebastian. I will never commit this hate crime of calling my supposed future son Bassie. The girl ran and tackled him. He sighed softly and hugged back. Sebastian, I like you. You remind me of my mom. Remember how her mom was dead in the first paragraph and like we were fine about it? Okay. How so? He effortlessly put her on her shoulders like a kid. You are a kid. You are 13. Remember that there are no drugs and no alcohol in her system. She's just like this. I could use some drugs and alcohol in my system. Have I taken my meds? Well, you enjoy action, cats, and kids. I don't. Plus, you're very sarcastic. And you're adorable. Did I just say that out loud? Yeah, Ruby yelled. The door opened. Hello, party animals. Sebastian turned to the door. Always fashionably late, isn't he? He muttered to himself. Oh my gosh, Ronald, I love you. Sorry, Grell, Ronald is here and he's my age. Love you, bye. Ronald! That's all one word. It's Ruby. Ronald was tackled. Put me down. Also, Ronald is not her age. Ronald is like a whole ass adult. Ruby is 13. Also, aren't the Reapers dead? Like, aren't they reincarnated? So technically he's not even close to being her age. Okay. Put me down. Yes, Corinne. Once her feet hit the floor, she put her hands in her pockets and went to lean on the wall. This was so cool. Undertaker came and leaned next to her. This is the weirdest part. I know the Viscount Druid part was weird. This is the weirdest part to me, mostly because the Viscount is established to be a creep. Like, it's just kind of known for his character. I'm not saying that writing him in like this was okay. But that's just kind of his character. So it wasn't surprising to me that, like, when he made an appearance, he was a creep. However, Undertaker, he's weird. He's not a creep towards little girls. You get my drift? Like, he's just weird. At least from what I remember. And I could be wrong. I don't think I could survive watching Black Butler and live to see the next day. But we'll see. Undertaker came and leaned next to her. Hey, lovely. Hi, Undertaker. For a human, you sure are pretty. She looked up at him, energy suddenly gone. Me too, Corinne. You sapped all of it. It's gone. I gotta go to work today, girl. Thanks. Go bother Grell. She looks sad. He ignored her. Instead, he began to brush her hair out of her face. Pretty hair. If you want compliments, Ruby is over there. She pointed. I don't want compliments. Okay. Hey, get away from my Corinne. Also weird. Alois stomped over. So you would save her from the Undertaker, but not the Viscount. Okay. Are you threatened? Is that why? Okay. Corinne decided that the couch was a nice safe haven. Too many pretty boys. She plopped down onto it. Yes, this couch was nice. Not pretty, not seductive. Just a couch. Babe, you don't know what it's like to be seduced. You're 13. Just a couch. Couches are our friends, she thought, drifting off to sleep. Ugh. Ruby looked around. Ronald was writing down his number for her. Why? He's like so old. You're a child. At least Alois and CL are their age. You know? Like, at least they're like 13 or 14. That's like the very least why this is like okay, is because they're children as well. Corinne looked like she was asleep on the couch. Silly girl. Wake up. The party isn't over, sleepyhead. Alois yelled into Corinne's ear. Some party. Some party. She looked up at him with the look of, death is coming soon, little man. I thought it was so scary. He laughed and backed away. What time is it? She asked muzzily. Again, with that word. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means, and I don't like it. Almost 2 a.m. How are you so happy? She grumped, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. Because you're here. Not for long. Ruby, come on. It's almost time to go. The red-headed girl looked up from her conversation with Ronald and Grell. But... ... Corinne hauled herself off the couch. A car horn beeped outside. She gestured to the door. See? Let's go. She watched as Ruby kissed Grell and then Ronald on the cheek in turn and ran over to her friend's side. Just don't do that. You don't know them. They're grown-ass people. Don't do that. Alois watched with sad eyes as Corinne came over to thank him and bade him goodbye. It would be bid him goodbye. And also, why are we talking like that? Because we're in the modern day and this is not a period romance. I don't want you to leave. She brushed a lock of hair out of his face. It had been bugging her. Okay, you could just do that. You could just do that. I mean, like, I don't know why you would, but you can. I know, kiddo, but maybe you'll trip over me again sometime. And I have your number, so we can meet up whenever you like. If I don't have school, that is. He nodded glumly. She stood on tiptoe and kissed the top of his head, also just very patronizing. Don't do that. Don't do that. He flushed. Why are you flushing? This is like so motherly. Okay. Thank you for having me and Ruby, boy who annoys me. See you around. I think that's the last time that she uses that like nickname, which is fine because it's like a mouthful and unnecessary. She ran off after her friend and out the door. Well, it seems that Alois Trancy is actually taken with someone other than himself. Shove it, CL. The Phantom Hive Earl shook his head. That girl is going to cause us more trouble than she's worth. That's the end of chapter 2. I think I've been desensitized to it. I think, God, you should have seen me when I was reading it to Tegan. It was ridiculous. I was dying. It was like 2 a.m. and I was like weeping. I was crying the whole last video too. I'm like dead inside today. So I'm just built stronger, I guess. But yeah, so like I said, these are really fun for me to do. I like them. So I'll probably do more. The only thing is that, like I said, some stuff is just not handled very well in the upcoming chapters. I think it's like from chapter 4 to like chapter 6. Things are like, stuff happens, and I'll probably just do like a skimmed overview of it to give you like the gist of what's happening for context and then go forward. But chapter 3 is pretty fucking bad. So we'll see how that goes. My little sister did give me permission to use some of her fan fiction too. So I might pick out one of those instead for next time. And then Tegan also wants me to read her fan fiction. We read it together. It's actually pretty good, for, you know, having been written when they were 14. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I did. I'm really tired, so I'm sorry it was so low energy, but yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Reny_reads, on Tumblr at Gravitationally Challenged Rabbits, and then I'm looking to see if I can get a TikTok started up. I've got a lot going on right now, so we'll see. how that goes. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.